Next game, e4. All right, we have a Caro-Kann, and we're going with the Panov-Botvinnik attack. Knight c6. This is not a normal move. The normal move is knight f6. Here I play knight c3. Others play knight f3, but against knight f3, this actually can transpose into some other, like, line. What the hell is it? Is it like a C3 Sicilian line? I think it's a C3 Sicilian line that I just want to avoid. Okay. I'll take. Now let's see. Will he accept? He does. So this is a gambit. And we'll see where he goes. Best move is knight e6. Nope. Boom. How now, brown cow? Yep. Give the check first. Am I supposed to take or pin? Oh, no, right. Bishop there. That's the move. I had to think about it for a while because there's going to be this bishop c5 move. Checkmate. Yes, I had this analyzed. Now that was something. All right, that's a good game. You can't knock that. All right. So, I I got to do some move analysis on this one to show people the Panov-Botvinnik attack, okay? This is just... Yeah, knight c3 is good. They think c takes d5 is best. I honestly don't care. I am going to play knight c3 always against this move. Knight f6. And now, see, this transposes. This transposes into the Panov-Botvinnik attack, the normal line, where there are three variations. There's e6, there's g6, and there is knight c6. And we just transposed back into that. Now, there are two main moves against knight c6. There's knight f3, which there is a huge, like, 25 move line. Now, maybe not 25 move, 18 move line, whatever it is, that leads to like a forced draw. Why you would want to play into a forced draw, I don't know. So, I don't play knight f3. The other main move is bishop g5. As you see, book move appearing on the screen. Now, bishop g5 is interesting, and actually if they take here, you also have that gambit with bishop g5. Bishop f4 is less known. But, I'm playing on chess.com, and I was actually introduced to this move on chess.com many years ago. Before Chessable existed, okay? The website you would go to join to watch your chess videos and learn would be chess.com. And there was a series by Gregory Kaidanov on the Panov-Botvinnik attack for white, where he recommended this move, bishop f4. And bishop f4 has been played by some big names. You could see games in the database from Irina Krush. You could see games in the database from Vasily Ivanchuk, who played bishop f4. And it's really something, tournament games, a lot of people play a6 against here, and you get a decent game playing, knight f3, they could take, and you take, and, you have to learn to play isolated pawn positions, okay? You will have to learn to play isolated pawn positions. And this is like, they give that pin hoping to attack, but then you play d5 and you're just like much, much better. Knight attacks, you come back and you're better. And anyway, you got to learn to play isolated pawn positions if you're going to play the Panov-Botvinnik attack. But good news, learning to play isolated pawn positions doesn't just improve an opening, it improves your overall chess. I assure you of that. Now, after my move of bishop f4, took, and this is where you have two moves. You can play d5, okay, which is a good move here. As you see, chess.com, excellent. They give it the thumbs up. Or you could go for this gambit. Now, if they take with the knight, white is much better after knight f3. Okay? If knight takes, queen takes, it's already like plus 1.5 on the engines or something. It's something ridiculous. These bishops all over the place, e6, and you just give a check and boom, look at this stuff. You get a great attack here. If they back up to e6, which is maybe one of their best, you take. All right? If the knight takes, well, then we got the knight b5 coming in again. And I don't really see what you're going to do against this, because this knight is held, and, well, what? That square's covered. That square's covered. That square's covered. That square's covered. Has to go there. Check. And everything is covered. Boom. So can't take with the knight if he does back up the knight. Take, and he has to take with the king. And then you queenside castle with check, and you're just getting this huge attack. You retreat the bishop at that point because obviously it's under fire. And then there's what happened in the game. This is not what happened in the game. Why does it not bring up my game? All right. Bishop takes, queen takes, queen takes, knight takes. Queenside castle. It says that's a mistake. That's actually the move that Kaidanov gave in the video. It says rook d1 is best. Well, you know what? Maybe, but come on. How bad can this possibly be? Now, knight e6, I mentioned during the game, was best, where the bishop now has to come back to e3, and, they could start doing normal Panov stuff. Yeah, 95 even. When they do that, I don't know. If they try to trade off, yeah, we'll take here. They take, and I don't know. You still have play going on here. I don't, you'll still have play for the sacked pawn, and they would have to play this pretty precisely. There's also, after bishop g7, you can even just seize the file here. They castle, and that doesn't work now. Oh, because the rook there, because they castled. So, yeah, they got to get their pieces out this way. And I don't know, it's saying bishop b3, but who knows? I would honestly be a little bit tempted to try some type of pawn storm, but I know that this can be delicate. It's giving a slight advantage to black, I guess, because of my queenside castling move. But, first off, they'd have to know this retreat, which is not natural. You're going to get a lot of people doing that. And then, obviously, knight b5 is a great move, okay, as you see there. And this is where I had to think a lot, because I've encountered this before and a number of times, because it seems like the only move that they can play in such a desperate situation. And I remembered that, all right, wait, because I was initially thinking, oh, do I pin the knight or sack? And then, even here, I was like, oh, do I take the rook? I've had, lots of games where I played this wrong. And after analyzing it, I realized bishop e3 is best because you're threatening here. And they have to, do something like this to give your king a flea square on f6. And even now it says it's +4. So, honestly, you're getting that knight for free, and the attack just keeps going. So, but a lot of people will get the rook out of trouble and not notice that that's checkmate. So that was really nice. Let's go back to the beginning there and show that after the Panov-Botvinnik attack, one of the other moves is e6. Now against e6, and let me tell you, these are videos you can also watch on chess.com by Gregory Kaidanov, where he gives his little recommendations. c5. Not often played, but played by Yevgeny Postny. And that c5 move, basically, the idea is now you could trade everything off. You could trade off all the pieces, and you would have a winning endgame, because you have this pawn majority on the queen side with the potential to create a passer. The thing with it is you don't do c5 against the other moves because e5 comes in. But when they played e6 already, first off, e5 here, nothing is holding it. So it essentially wins, like, I don't even know, like this is hanging, that it doesn't really work. But even in the situation where they do get to play something first, you know, you could play like bishop f4, which, which is what I typically play. And the reason I do is because then I'm in the same position as I am after here, bishop f4. If they choose e6, c5. So I could get into this from either the e6 line or the knight c6 line sometimes. In the National Open in Las Vegas, which I did play in last month, my first round, I actually had this. And after c5, first off, here's, maybe it's a little mean, but I get this position. I know I'm going to play c5. And what do? I sit there and I'm like, looking at the board, contemplating. And I will let like a good 2-3 minutes on my clock run down, because it's a long play game, and then play c5. Why? Why do I not play it immediately and get that time advantage and make them think, because they've never encountered it? Well, the reason is, if they think that I was just trying like out of book already, like got that far and then thinking about what to do, there is a good chance, I'm not going to say a great chance, but a good chance that they might say, I've never seen that before. I could break it down with b6. And this is exactly what happened round one. You play b4, and you're reinforcing. Now they say, I'm breaking it down. And obviously, you can't protect because nice pin. Haha, gotcha. Well, things are not so simple, because we are not playing a3. They hit out with a5, and we hit them with knight a4. See? Now, if they take here, we take here. And that's pretty good, isn't it? You can already see. Yes, your king side is undeveloped. You're going to have to play knight f3, bishop check, or bishop out. But it's good. When I played this, my opponent thought for a very long time. Took here, and then I take. You still got your passer. And I went here, and she played rook b7. Now, I pin the knight, have to unpin, and I come here. She went here, and this was all she wrote. I think the queen went here. And I was contemplating whether to take with the knight or the bishop. I think the bishop take was better, but I took the knight and she castled, and then I took the rook and she resigned. And, you know, that was it. So you could get a lot of people if you play these, sounds, but less known lines of the Panov-Botvinnik attack. And then, besides that, G6 is another main move, and this I actually do have to book up on a lot more because I haven't found anything great against it yet. I'll say that about the Kaidano video does cover it, but he gives this line with knight takes, queen there, if knight takes, that's very cute that you could throw in this little in-between move, and if they try to save their knight, well, they don't because they're just now losing, and you get your knight back and they're in a horrible position. But, all right, most of them know to then play e6, and you take, and I don't know. And also, after queen b3, a lot of people playing knight b6 here. And I don't know. I'm not worse. I know that. But I'm not attacking. And I don't see how I'm going to attack. So that line doesn't quite work for me. I will probably have to do some more investigating into queen b3 immediately, which I know is supposedly a bit trickier. Where, like, if they did that, this is supposedly very good for me with the already d5 break. But the lines, when they don't take and they just, like, leave it there, I still don't really know. I gotta investigate a lot more on the G6 line, so I can't really give a tutorial on that because I'm still searching myself on how to get like a good attacking position. Yes, if I played in a tournament and someone played G6 against me, I could get out of the opening okay using that like C takes D5 stuff and Queen B3. And yes, I'm surviving the opening and getting all my pieces out, but I have no real plans in that position. Whereas the other two lines with like bishop f4 against knight c6, I have some like I just know how to develop my pieces and everything. And c5 against d6, I know what I'm doing, but g6, I have to research a lot more. I'm not going to show those lines that like Kaidanov showed because, quite honestly, after that line with knight b6, I just feel like, oh yuck, where's my attack? Yeah, I have the IQP, but like, is it even a good IQP in that position? I don't know. Anyway, I think that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed that little lesson on the Panov-Botvinnik, and I'll